When we talk about agreement, that sounds good. Agreement has a nice, happy, cheerful, friendly sound to it. We're all in agreement then. Isn't that great? It's better than being disagreeing or in a state of conflict because conflict is not so nice. We all try, most of us, orientated to try and stay away from conflict, which means head to agreement. But in actual fact, in a psychological sense, agreement isn't such a wholesome, friendly, happy thing at all. It's actually the means by which we're imprisoned without realizing it. Agreement's not a good thing, psychologically speaking. Agreement means you've accepted something on trust, assuming that it's kosher, and then after you've accepted it on trust, assuming that it's totally kosher, you forget about it. So how much stuff in our lives is like this? How much stuff that goes to make up our world is basically stuff that we agreed with or accepted without ever looking into it, and then it's there for good. We're stuck with it then. We're stuck with the consequences of our agreement, of our agreements we have made without even knowing, because most of the time we don't know that we're agreeing to anything. There's a process that goes on that we agree without realizing it. Kind of, yeah, okay, yeah. We're browbeaten into it by some authority. When an authority says something to us, it's putting the squeeze on us, and we agree to it. It's the oldest story in the book. Is what happens all the time. Now, in a system which is based on hierarchy, based on control, based on everyone in their right box or slot doing the right thing, agreement is very, very important. And disagreement is a dirty word. It means you're a terrorist. It means you're a bad egg, generally speaking. If your attitude is that you don't agree with stuff straight away, you get yourself a bad name in this particular society that we live in any society, because to be a society, to be a cohesive group, we all have to agree. Otherwise, we're a collection of individuals. In actual reality, rather than the mentally made up reality that we inhabit and call the world, which is our own artificial construct with nothing behind it, nothing, no grounding in anything. It's just there, an artificial construct, an artificial and extremely limiting construct that we call the world, and we restrict ourselves to it, absolutely. Agreement is not a thing in real reality. I know I'm kind of overdoing it. There's no agreements in a reality, as I was saying in the last episode. Agreement is a nonsensical and absurd, even saying it's absurd isn't right. It's not a thing. You'd have to be cracked to think it's a thing, because it isn't a thing, and we all think it's a thing. Everyone thinks it's a thing. In reality, or in unconditioned reality, reality as it is before we got to it and superimposed our own ideas upon it, all there is movement, or all there is change. And that sounds like a dogmatic statement. It is a dogmatic statement, but we can follow on from that dogmatic statement by saying, don't take my word for it or anyone else's word for it. Don't take David Bohm's word for it, just because he's a quantum physicist. Sure, what? You still can't take his word for it. Find out for yourself. How do you do that? It's actually, in one way, very simple, and in another way, hard. It's simple because all we have to do is to see the movement. That is everything. The movement behind which there is nothing, no fixtures, no solid framework. It stays still in ourselves, stay still. And just notice. We'll see everything's moving. And what's more, this is the biggie, it's moving all by itself. I didn't tell it to move. No one else told it to move. It's not obeying the government or the council or the regulations of whatever particular organization we belong to. No, it's moving all by itself in the spookiest way. So this is spooky. There's no reason for it. There's no logic for it. There's nothing causing it. The true nature of reality is this movement. Jung says the same thing about consciousness. He says consciousness is a movement from an unknown origin to an unknown destination. So clearly he's talking about the same thing. Only in physics you wouldn't be talking about consciousness, or you might be, depending whether you're into that or not. But you would talk about the physical universe, space. Maybe you talk about space instead. But if you're a physicist, you'd say the same thing, that the actual nature of the universe is movement. And we can't say any more than that. If we could say it's movement towards some particular actualization of something or fulfillment of something, towards some goal, then that's not movement, because the goal is a mental fixture and the origin where we think we are now is a mental fixture, and the procedure to get from the process of getting from one fixture in my psychostatic picture of the world to another picture, another frame in that same psychostatic world is not movement. If you can define it and get outside of it and talk about it, it's not movement. Movement means there's no external reference point to say anything about it. We can't say anything about the movement, for example, even though that's kind of pretty simplistic place to start off. We can't say anything about how fast it's moving. Is it 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour? Is it 100 miles an hour? Is it like the speed of light? All totally meaningless, because we haven't got a start point and an end point that we can measure. Therefore, we can't measure the transformation, what goes on between them. So although we can say it's movement, we can't say anything more than that. Although we can say everything changes, we can't say what it was before it changed or what it will be after it changes. So that's where we stand. Now, there's no need to actually take that on trust, as I have said. There's no need to believe it. It is hard. It is hard to test for yourself. You'd have to sit there, and your mind would be locked rigid. You'd be projecting rigid fixtures. You wouldn't be able to experience the raw nature of mind, the raw nature of consciousness, because you'd be too busy populating it with thoughts. But never mind that. If you kept at it, you would, of course, eventually get there, and you'd have this remarkable sensation of everything moving, all as one, and of you being part of that moving too, into, what can you say, into mystery. Out of what can you say? Out of mystery. So agreement is a very funny thing within this paradigm. If I agree with myself that something is something, I'm lying, because it's a movement. It isn't. There is no is, as Robert Anton Wilson is fond of saying. All is does is give rise to semantic ghosts. Whatever we say is a meaningless word. So if we say something is, we've created a ghost of something using words that isn't really there. So because we are so big on the is of identity, is that, which is a illegal or illegitimate or meaningless thing to say, because there are no fixed things. You can only say that if you have fixed things or one thing and another thing which is fixed, and you can compare it to it. You can use a point of reference, but a point of reference doesn't work. in universal cosmic flux because there are no points of reference, so we can't say anything. And so that kind of cuts off all mental activity at the root, because all the mind ever does is say what things are. The mind is literal. This is this, that's that, that equals that, that doesn't equal that. So agreement is a function of logic. X equals Y. X agrees with Y. X equals Y. It's the same thing. It's identity. So if I say X equals Y squared plus 3C to the power minus pi, whatever, that's a nonsensical thing because there's no identity. If there was identity, if there was one thing equaling another or one statement that agrees with some assumed framework or vantage point or point of reference, then the system that we would be discussing would be unreal. It would be a formal system. It would be a system that exists in our mind only. It would be a made up thing. And that's what happens every time we agree. We crash out of reality into a false agreed upon reality that isn't real.